Mr. Jensen.
Well, I think it was stated pretty much before that I hope that this referendum passes and hope that we can move forward. Fairview School is 50 plus years old. I went to school there. It's got single pane windows, it's got air quality issues. There's asbestos in the tile floors. There's lead in the water pipes. Lots needs to be done at Fairview. So I hope and pray that this referendum passes.
Mrs. Fluegge.
All right. Well, some of you I've talked to before, and you've asked me the same question, so it's kind of going to be a repeat. I agree with a lot of different sides in this issue, and I'm willing to listen. But in all, if adding on to Trailview is going to improve my children's, yours, and any other children's community's education, it's a great idea. You know, look at it in that way. And every school needs to improve, no matter if it's structurally or infrastructurally. Every year there's going to be a change for every grade, every kid. So we need to start thinking about the continuous changes that need to happen, not just structurally, but infrastructure. Some things don't even cost a dime that need to change either. And sometimes we kind of forget to talk about those things lately. But giving these kids the best education is going to be the #1 priority for me.
Mrs. Bohachek.
Our current facility, Fairview, is not addressing the needs that we have as a district for the kids and for the educators. It's just not healthy, and it's not functional. It is not ADA accessible. There are not enough outlets in the building for all of the technology initiatives that we have going on now. There's just things that aren't functional, and when you start to tear it into the walls and get into the brick and mortar, you're going to find a whole lot more problems. I am for this referendum. This is going to be progress. We're looking at the future, and we need to move forward with it. So I am hoping that everybody votes yes in November.
Mr. McCabe.
Well, don't cut down a good tree. An oak tree can live for over 100 years. Fairview was well constructed in its time. It was well excavated, and it was well built. It probably is better built than Trailview. It passed higher on the comfort survey for the teachers than Trailview did. So I think with the declining, we have a little bit of a declining student population. That's one thing we should look at. Who knows, maybe in 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 7 years, we might need a new facility. We might grow again. But right now, our population, our student population is not growing, it's going down. And those figures that we heard about maintenance and $150,000, those might not be true. There's a lot of figures on each side. I guess it boils down to your philosophy of, do you want to save something? Minneapolis there's a book out, The Lost Twin Cities. Do you want to lose something that's important to you, or do you want to take care of it? If you can't take care of your existing structures, you're not going to be able to take care of a new structure.
Mr. Woods.
First and foremost, I'm 100% behind this referendum. When 20 plus years ago, when the school board bought the property at Trailview, the intent was always to get all of the schools onto one campus, to be able to maintain one campus. One of the biggest things for me is I support what the community task force came to the conclusion of. And that was a task force that was made up of people from all walks of life. And they thought it was the most fiscally responsible thing to not put money into an old building like Fairview and take that money and put it into a new building at Trailview, and then you can start consolidating some of the campuses. Now, we could remodel. That's never been a question. We could absolutely remodel Fairview, but then you're still left with bad parking in the middle of town, with poor plumbing. You'd have to redo all the flooring, everything. You still end up with inadequate class size. It makes sense financially, and I agree with what the task force and the community said to do, was to go forward with this referendum.
Mr. Engberg.
I think that by association, my position on the referendum is pretty clear. You've seen many ads in the paper, and I'm associated with the Vote No group. I can echo Gerry McCabe's points there, but that the school is sound. If we need more maintenance money for both schools, which we will, I would be also in favor of maintenance referendums, if you will, such as what was suggested in the option 1 proposal, which was, in my opinion, ignored in the proceedings before the referendum was generated. The option number 1 was the tax neutral option, where we would continue over $600,000 of taxation, which would be voter approved levy, and that would be dedicated in large part for maintenance.